what I'm trying to do is I see the thrust of 4 or 5 questions. They're kind of pointed one angle questions. I'm going to try and formulate into one framework, all 3, 4 of them, then let them answer. Right in front of you, go ahead.
I'm Vijay Bhaskar. So I'm...
Who's speaking now? Front, back. Vijay Bhaskar ji.
Yeah, okay, Vijay Bhaskar. So, sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So, Vijay Bhaskar, and we are building technology solutions for agriculture and started with irrigation automation and whatever Sir mentioned about the irrigation motors are controlled by mobile phones. So I was asking Dr. Sam Pitroda ji, is there a government support that we can get? If there is already government that's encouraging to use such solutions, so we wanted to know where it's being used, and we could also provide, our innovative solutions. That is there a way that we can talk on that, meet and talk about?
Let me open this to panelists, and I have Ram and the gentleman in front of you. I'll open it to you in a minute. The question, the way I'm thrust is getting that each one of their own sector has one individual problem, whether it's Kisan problem or the G-Auto problem, etc. How can this be converted in generic form and interact with the government? Because you people are not in position to solve one complaint at a time. So it's a complaint box we are creating here. How does this complaint box become a policy-changing paradigm? Any way to interact with the government at that level?
See, what Subhash said about procurement is a matter which we have to handle when we are interacting with government. One innovator in Bombay had come up with an application where he could track the people who go in various wards in the municipality to do some cleaning or to something, whatever job. They were supposed to go at 6 o'clock in the morning and do their work in the wards. And he created an application where the one person sitting in the office at 6 o'clock in the morning could track who's gone where. So the municipal corporation officer had come up with a requirement in such a way that he could give this work to that person through a process of procurement. Procurement process, a transparent procurement process is a must. You cannot get around that process. So when there is an innovation and if a government department or an officer likes the innovation, department accepts it, then department has to come up with a request for proposal or whatever project in such a way that this particular thing will fit in. And if you are the first one to come up with that thing, then probably your price-wise or your technology-wise, you will be the best fit. I think that is the way we have worked around. Even in agriculture, if you have a certain innovation, the local agriculture department in the state government or the agriculture department in Government of India will be able to pick it up through a certain process. It might take time, but it will be able to pick it up provided they like it.
See, it's a huge dilemma that the government faces. And I say that because as of now, even if as an individual or as an individual officer, I like something and find that it's innovative, I have to go through the whole process of selecting you. Because it gives me a discretion of whether select you or somebody else. Now, if I don't have a transparent and objectively determined process of selecting you, someone else can point a finger and say, why did you pick him up? Why didn't you pick him the other guy? And there are no easy answers in it. It's very difficult. And as someone rightly put it, innovation is an innovation, so it didn't pre-exist. If it didn't pre-exist, there is no background to it. So how do you determine whether first it is appropriate? And even if it is appropriate, even if it is good, how do I get that person to the exclusion of others? So there are no easy answers, let me tell you. There are absolutely no easy answers. We have to think innovatively. I'll share with you what we did in the RSPY. Because there's so many innovations happening there. We totally bypassed the government's process. How did we do that? And that's not the right way to do it. We took the German technical cooperation on board. We used to say that here is innovation. You have your own processes. Please go through your processes and give me this technology. I don't know what they did, because I didn't have an answer to that. Within the bureaucracy, within the government files, you have to go through the process. If you don't go through the process, you are in trouble. So this is a huge dilemma that we face, especially in case of innovations that take place. There are no immediate correct answers. If there are available, please tell us.
And Ram, you have the back. You're about to sneak out, so I'll catch you before you do that. Go ahead.
We understand that there is a need there, and we all, though it is wanted or not, we also understand that young social innovators has a potential. Then what can organizations like Action for India or we, the Action for India, can do in bridging of this? Please advise.
What could assist the government is in coming up with a process through which selection of such innovations could be taken up. We should jointly try and evolve a mechanism, a transparent procedure through which we recognize that here is an innovation. We also recognize the fact that it is required. We also evolve conditions through which we determine the terms. You know, what is also more important is how do you cost it? You know, no social innovator will come and say, you take this without any costing of it. Now, costing itself is going to be an issue. So if we can evolve those parameters, I think it will help the government to formulate a clear-cut policy that in case there is an innovation in a particular area, you follow this process to pick that guy up.
There are 5 minutes left, so we'll take the last couple of questions.
I just want to.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Just want to add to.
Sorry, go ahead.
The reply to Ram's question. Earlier, someone had said that a portion of money can be reserved for innovation. See, there are certain departments like biotechnology, even IT. They have a certain portion reserved for innovations. They come up with open advertisements and say, anyone who has a innovative idea in these fields, please come up. And they do pick up such ideas. So I think probably now the time has come where this money that has been earmarked should be across more departments. There's no such thing probably in education, probably in agriculture. So I think you raised a very important issue. Now more and more departments should now get into the innovation bandwagon. Yeah.
So one thought. I humbly present before you, wherever there's a need and wherever there's a potential to cater, people who need reach them. And investors reach here in such a group where they try to mingle with them and understand what they have, which they can provide us so that we can utilize their services. So we rarely find government coming directly and interacting with such potential people and taking advantage of it. Anything can be done in this direction, I appreciate.
You create such forums.
Yes, sir?
Create such forums where interaction could take place. Because, you know, as I mentioned in the morning, you have a forum where you have an interface in existence. Ideas get exchanged. But you know, fundamentally, even if they create that funding there, if you don't have the process of picking up a person or an idea, that fund will be, you know, surrendered every year on year. I know of certain departments who have such fund and they don't utilize it for the simple reason they don't want to take a risk of picking up somebody. So if we can jointly come up with a process which could be utilized by the government, I think there are people who are willing to get. It is the need of the hour.
Fine, I agree. At least knowing them. See, we rarely find such potential people from the government coming to speak and address, but less coming into them and knowing them. If anything can happen, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt here now. Since I'm part of this organization, Ram, would you assist us? Here's a direct request. They need a platform and a process. How about if we create a platform of 3 or 4 questionnaires from here, and there was one person here, and come out at least with the initial one-pager, this could be the process. We'll forward it to the 3 of them, 3 copies, and then start interacting informally with them. Hopefully by next forum next year, we'll have a policy paper which they will vet wherever it is to be done. And it's an initiation of some new action.
Let me offer that if you create one such interaction session on the IT area, we can take it up. We can support you. We can be with you on that.
Since they won't be available from day to day, let's, under Ram's guidance, please, let's collect this group, create some proper paper, and then we go from there. Those who have the thoughts, contact Ram after the session. Now, anybody else here? Yes, ma'am.
there are so many schemes, and we keep talking about PPPs, but as the gentleman over here said, some of the requirements from government is either at one end so high that small entrepreneurs cannot obviously access those opportunities, or then you have a problem that you've got to be an NGO. I'm not saying being an NGO is the problem, please. But so what happens is social enterprises by themselves, which are smaller in nature, who are really working at the grassroots levels on the ground, don't get an opportunity to really partner with the government, which is what we so badly need. So what is the way around it, or is there something that can be done to make that happen? That's my first question. And a very quick second question. So you mentioned that there is a lot of roundtables and conclaves that you might want to have that could kind of, foster and engage with social entrepreneurs. Is there a specific plan in place, or were you talking in general about these conclaves and roadshows? Thank you.
No, this is a mechanism. I was again coming to the same generic issue of creating those processes, and I very specifically brought out that the infrastructure sector, construction sector PPP is not the way forward in the health sector, because in health sector we are engaged with with small communities, local communities primarily. There are a lot of program components. So these require very smaller groups, different levels. So that's why I mentioned this point that we need to evolve a different mechanism. Those I don't find readily, they're not really well laid out. So we need to engage on this specific theme, specifically in roundtables and all, and we encourage that mechanism. In fact, in the public health sector, we already have a couple of roundtables to take care of the public health programs, because they are manpower intensive. The tertiary care things are capital intensive. So we need small mechanisms, much more broad-based. We are not looking at very high qualifying criteria. So, but those mechanisms, as of now, at least in Delhi government and a couple of other governments I'm aware of, we don't have them immediately. They have to be evolved. The existing PPP models really don't serve the purpose. I fully 100% agree with you. That was precisely why I thought there's a need to engage in thematically more focused areas and evolve these mechanisms. It has to be a kind of collaborative effort, because government also needs those advocacy values. I would be a lone voice, but if it comes from a forum, it is much easier to pilot it. That was the idea.
You had a hand up here. You have a follow-up question?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Just that, so if in case along with the AFI, if we can create those kind of channels, would you be very supportive of that? That's great.
Okay.
And so anything else in the social enterprise?
Yeah, one last question here, then a wind-up, half-liner, and then Sanjay.
I have a kind of actionable question. We have five sectors. We have 100 entrepreneurs this year and probably another 100 previous year. Pre-selected, there was a process and all that stuff. Would you individually be willing to engage in your sector-specific topics, assuming AFI creates a process of identifying 20 entrepreneurs, 3 hours, they'll get you a room and everything, and it would be a discussion where there can be information exchange, you can talk about policy, how we can use existing policies and such. With 5 sectors, can you identify equally progressive officers from each of those? And I'm happy to work with the AFI guys to make sure that some of these happen, because obviously I'm an interested party. So
we can do that on the IT initiatives.
IT has to come in all 5, obviously.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, that's right.
So you'll come for all 5? There are 2 more. I'm waiting for 2 more answers. Sorry, which one would you want to come for?
Yeah, I would suggest don't put them on mat, but we will facilitate it. I can promise we'll facilitate your ideas. And because there's not only 3 involved, there may be 3 more and 10 more involved. Let's create a framework of policy making, framework of inputs from us, framework for what do we expect from them, some kind of outcome matrix and so on. And we will create the process. I promise we'll do that, because it's pretty exciting. Out of 2 or 3 initiatives that AFI President Sanjay mentioned this morning, we'll add 1 more to his kitty and hold him accountable next year. And Ram is, of course, the other co-conspirator. Anything else you want to say, Sanjay? Anything else you want me to say? Thank you very much. It's been just wonderful. Thank you.